Coming up on the beautiful countryside in Culpeper, Virginia, to our Tennessee Walking Horse Farm. We are speaking of horses, and we're at a beautiful Tennessee Walking Horse farm in Culpeper, Virginia. Beautiful countryside, everything. And we're going to tell you a lot about walking horses and pleasure walking horses and all the things that you can do with a wonderful walking horse. And we're going to bring all this to you, but we want to start out by introducing Jenny McGuire. And Jenny, welcome, and we want you to just give everybody some nice history on the walking horse.
Well, thank you, Wayne. We're really enjoying having you here in Virginia and love the opportunity to talk about this breed. Is so special to us. The thing that fascinates me personally about the history of the breed is because it tells us a lot about the qualities that were originally really important to people, early Americans in that part of our country. So part of the development of the breed had to do with the region, and the region in the Middle Tennessee Basin and areas surrounding, some here in Southern Virginia itself, and others in parts of North Carolina and Kentucky. We're looking for the kind of horse as part of their livelihood and their farming and agriculture interests that could be sturdy and work all day, sometimes under pressure, and still be light enough that they were agile and athletic, and so they had a multitude of tasks. A lot of times it was plowing fields, and then other times it was taking the children to school, or working the plantations in a way that they would literally ride all day and survey crops. And they got a nickname called the turn-row horse. The turn-row horse is a nickname that they developed because they would walk the rows of crops and turn and walk them again. And there was a charming saying about the breed that could walk all day and never step on a single growing plant. So it's really endearing to the breed. I think one of my favorite little quotes that I ran across in studying some of the history was one that really surprised me about the early times, which was, they say that one of the first horses on record doing the true running walk was in 1837, a little piebald named Bald Stockings. And that was almost 100 years before the breed became official on the books, which was 1935. So what we know is that the horses and the type of horses were being developed prior to the Civil War, and probably a lot of them, and they say that generals and officers during the Civil War prided having a gaited horse, and a lot of times that was an important quality to them, to have a smooth ride while they were riding for hours and months and years. So we know that they played a really, really significant role in American history. The development of the breed then became something where the signature gaits became a very important part of the breed, as it is named the Tennessee Walking Horse, because the signature gaits of the horse separate that horse from some of the other breeds at the same time being developed for some of the same reasons. Our American breeds, we're all really, really proud of. The American Quarter Horse, the American Saddlebred, the Morgan Horse, so many of them that were developed in and around the same time in different regions of our country as it was growing. But the Tennessee Walking Horse was unusual and different in the respect that they performed the signature gaits that we pride so much today, which was the flat walk and the running walk.
Well, you know, as you talk about that, we're going to tell people through the course of this show that those gaits are natural. They're there at birth, and all you do is enhance those gaits as you train. And you can do dressage, you can do, well, so we're going to show some side saddle, you can do endurance, pleasure riding, and it is a very smooth ride because of the natural gait of the horse.
You're right, and that's true. And what's also fascinating is through that selective breeding that was happening during that era and has continued on through today, what we know and what we're learning through some DNA studies and through some other studies that are happening around the world with gaited horses is that there are some genetically designed muscle structures that allow for the gait. And so our duty as horsemen and horsewomen is to enhance the gait. But it does come naturally, and we had a baby born here today, and we're really excited because we'll see him walking
We're
a
going
whole.
to show film of this birth in a bit.
That's right. We'll watch him. He'll be walking around with his mama right at her side pretty soon, I'm sure. In a couple of weeks, you'll see, and it's exciting to see this gait. And the tendency for them to want to just naturally drop right in there and use their body in that manner as babies and weanlings beside their mom. And then even at the early stages of training is very exciting to see. But we really owe a lot to some wise and clever people that really saw these attributes about the horses when they were selectively breeding them during that era.
Well, and we've been showing some pictures here of some old Tennessee walking horses. History, I mean old in history, not in age of the horse, but up through, you know, kind of the development of the walking horse in the United States. So, and we are going to show the foal, and we're going to show you a lot of things about all of these different ones. We are here at Joe London Training Facility and Walking Horse Farm in Culpeper, Virginia. Beautiful area here.
Gorgeous. We love it here. It's ideal. There's so many beautiful places to ride. Again, with history, the Manassas battlefield. Some of us sneak on up into Pennsylvania and ride at the Gettysburg battlefield. And there's mountains and valleys, and it's a lovely riding area of the country to ride.
Well, and it's a wonderful breed of horse, and we're going to tell you a lot more about it. Ginny, thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
All right, keep watching because we're going to learn a lot more about the walking horses right here. Well, hey, we're still here in Culpeper, Virginia, and you've had a look around the farm here. It's Joe London Training Facility or Training Farm, and it's a beautiful facility, and of course the area is gorgeous. But Joe is currently my guest here, so before we get into these videos on the various styles of gaits and disciplines of riding within the walkers, tell us, Joe, a little bit about your philosophy on training and how it is working with a walking horse in the whole training thing through all the disciplines and they're all natural gaits to the horse. So give us a little insight into that.
My philosophy on the gaited horse would be it's natural. So I use a lot of natural horsemanship, basic dressage, softening, bending, flexing, riding circles, anything we would do with any breed of horse. Because they're gaited, they don't take a special anything other than natural relaxation and allowing them to just come through and be themselves and show us what they have, and then we can build off of that.
So the horses, and actually we talked about it earlier, there was a foal born here. Just as we started some of this filming, we were all interrupted because we had this foal being born, which was really neat. And in this show somewhere you're going to see the footage. You may have already seen it, but you're going to see a little bit of this foal. But when they're at birth, the minute they get up, and as soon as they start walking around, you start to pick up the gait. I mean, it's right there. Correct. It's all natural. And what people don't realize sometimes is you can do dressage, you can do endurance riding, you can do almost anything you want to do on the back of a walking horse. And a lot of people are like, dressage? Tell us a little bit about dressage in a walker.
Okay. Yes, we do use a lot of dressage and the basic dressage movements and fundamentals with our walking horses for the relaxation, suppleness, engagement, and such forth. We do have to modify our dressage test for a gaited horse slightly from traditional dressage, but we do training level, first level, second level on our gaited horses via walking horses or any gaited horse.
Well, when you do the one thing you can't do are some of the gaits, but you can do, the 10 meter, 20 meter, you can do the circles, you can do all the other stuff required. You just can't do all of the same gaits. With the trot is the one that's the bugaboo, but it's not a bugaboo, it's just one gait you can't do. But the idea of dressage and doing all these maneuvers and the circles and the timing and how advanced the horse and rider can become together as they move through is still a key part of it's the basis of dressage.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the true difference between on our gaited horses a flat walk and a running walk is extension and length of stride, not speed. So we can use our dressage for flexibility and bending and get that natural impulsion from behind and length of stride, which brings us from one transition from one gait to the next gait.
So we have, when you go to a show, and we're going to show in a little bit, we're going to show some highlights of a Tennessee walking horse show that you and many of your clients or boarders are all going to be in. What different disciplines would you see there that a lot of people wouldn't expect you to be having those classes with a walking horse?
The first thing that comes to my mind is our trail obstacle courses that we'll do with the walking horses, and there's 6 or 7 obstacles that we'll have the walking horses go through and perform each of them. And then we'll also see our youth classes doing their signature gait, whether it be an all-day pleasure gait or a flat walk, running walk. Of course, we do our canter classes, water glass to show off the smoothness of the horse. A lot of fun stuff like that. And we'll also have barrels and poles and all of the typical gaming kind of classes and stuff like that. We won't have any jumping at this show, but we do jumping, side saddle, just about all of it.
Well, we're going to show some side saddle here in a moment, and some of the things that you don't normally think about. You don't think about barrels and poles with walkers. You don't think about the speed classes. But if you think about the gait of the horse, if you're in a running walk and you can negotiate the poles, you can turn some pretty good times.
Absolutely.
And so there's just so many things you can do that the average horse person that hasn't been involved with a good gaited horse or walking horse, just they don't think about it because it isn't what they've typically seen. So we're going to take a look, Joe, at some of the different disciplines, gaits. We've got some riders saddled up. We're going to take a look at that and what they're doing. Then we're going to take a look at Joe's going to give a lesson in a bit. He's got a young lady named Lindsay, right?
Lindsay, yes.
So tell us about Lindsay a little bit.
Lindsay is, I believe, 9 right now. She's been riding with me for a year and a half. She came to me. She had been riding a little pony going jumps and came off a couple times and lost her confidence. So she came to me for the gaited horse to build her confidence and realized that she really, really enjoys the gaited horses. So later on today when I do her lesson, it'll be on a big Palomino horse called Gambler's Golden Flame. And Lindsay's been riding him for just shy of a year, and last year in September we went to the National Walking Horse Show, and Lindsay rode him to 3 National Grand Championship titles.
Wow. All right, so we're going to show you a little bit of the lesson with Lindsay as well, and then you're going to get a chance to see Lindsay in an actual show competing as well, so you can see how this progresses. Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're here in Culpeper, Virginia, and we're learning all about the walking horses and the wonderful things you can do with them today, all natural. Stay with us right here on Speaking of Horses. Gambler's Golden Flame, the Palomino, Country English Pleasure. Rainbow Warrior, Shorty, the Bayronne Gelding, Ice Shod Western 3-Gate. 9 yards above and beyond are Tater, Sorrow Gelding, All Day English Pleasure. I'm a Royal Flasher Benny, Liver Chestnut Gelding, Trail Pleasure English. Straight-Laced Politician or Lincoln, the Strawberry Roan Gelding, Spotted Saddle Horse Western. And Miller Ultralight, Howie, Gray Gelding, and Light Shod English. Now we're going to watch them go around the rail. We're going to watch them show you some of the various gaits they perform. And we want to remind you that this program on the walking horses is presented in cooperation with the All-American Walking Horse Alliance. Please check them out. Hey, speaking of horses, we're still here in beautiful Culpeper, Virginia. And Connie Niebuhr's my guest. Now, one of the things that we haven't addressed yet with the walking horses, besides trail riding, is field trial with dogs. So, Connie, tell us a little about that.
It's a lot of fun because you turn the hunting dogs loose and then you follow them on horseback and they go out in a 30-minute or a 1-hour brace. So you're on horseback almost all day getting off them and getting on them and working the dogs off them. And the one great thing about the Tennessee Walker is they are not only gated, so they're extremely comfortable ride. You can ride for 8 hours and not even know you rode a horse, but they're an extremely patient creature. So if you're scouting a dog, you can actually get off the horse, ground tie the horse, pick up the dog for the handler, then get back on, let the dog go, get back on your horse and ride off. And you don't spend the day looking for your horse.
Well, yeah, and there's times on trail rides that's happened. I've had some funny stories about that. I cannot tell them right now. But, it's the walking horse really lends itself to that field trial. So tell us a little bit about how that kind of plays into trail riding as well.
Well, it was funny because it's a really great way to break a young walker. I had a horse for 24 years, and he started out field trialing. So because you're going over hill and dale and through the woods, and they're firing starter pistols over them, and there's not much you can really throw at them after that would unnerve them. So when you get up in the mountains or off in the woods, they learn how to turn and corner and back. So if you get on a trail that closes down, you can back them out of it. You can go right, you can go left. I mean, one day we were on a trail ride, and I had a bear run right under my horse, and horses in the back and the front were all like, "What was that?" And I looked down, and my horse looked at me, and I said, "I think that was a bear." And everybody in the front and back said, "That was a bear." But again, they're really wonderful, wonderful horses.
Well, they are very level-headed, and they're very smooth, and they're very focused. And I'm using that not as a trainer, because I'm not a trainer, but they seem to be more focused many times on the trail and what they're doing, and less distracted than some other breeds.
Very much so. They're not as flighty. Birds can fly in front of them. Butterflies can go around them. They do focus. That's one thing I like about a walker. They tend to really pay attention to you. They're very easy to leg train, neck rein, and they're a wonderful breed to work with because they're patient.
So tell us a little bit more about field trials. What got you into this field trial stuff?
My friends, I ended up getting a pointer, and we started small, and then my buddy Sam got 7 dogs. And then I couldn't decide which was more fun, whether to show your own dog, because you go out and hunt your dog, and then you have a scout who scouts for you, who helps you keep track of the dog. And the most amazing thing is you are focused on the dog the whole time, not your horse. Keeping the dog on the brace, keeping the dog on the birds, making sure the dog backs the birds. So you develop tremendous trust with your horse. You can almost drive them completely with your legs and put the reins down. Yelling, whistling to keep your dog going. And the other thing I like is their endurance. They go and go and go and go, and it doesn't matter how tired they are, they have tremendous heart.
And that's one of the areas, or the 2 areas, the field trial and trail riding, which I'm kind of tying together, and then the endurance. They're great endurance horses, and we're going to talk about and show you some stuff about all of that. We don't have any actual field trial video, but we got some good trail riding video and endurance for you to take a look at. So, Connie, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and we're learning all about walking horses right here on Speaking of Horses. Well, now here's a look at the old-time, beautiful style of side saddle. Well, we talked about the birth of the new foal while we were at the Tennessee Walking Horse Farm at Joe London's farm. Here is that birth of that brand new walking horse foal. Sue Finelli is my guest right now. Now, Sue, you work here with Joe London Training Farm, and you manage a lot of stuff. I know you're a very busy person, but we'd like to get you to talk a little bit about the walking horses and dressage. Now, just how does that actually fit together?
Well, it actually fits together quite nicely. The walking horse the gait of the walking horse can be manipulated by teaching the horse to round and use impulsion and come up under himself. And if you look at the pacey horse, when you get his back moving and you get him rounded, a lot of times you go from the pace into the flat walk or running walk.
So, but you are a lot of people that are watching who aren't gaited horse people don't necessarily relate gaited horses and doing dressage, because if you're doing dressage that you're expecting, with a stock type horse, shall I say, or a Baroque horse, your gaits are different. So what are the variations? In other words, they trot. You don't trot. Okay, so there are some differences in how you function in dressage, just a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
There's a difference. The difference is the gait. The difference is the 4-beat gait. The training is the same. So if I was training a trotting horse to do basic dressage or a gaited horse to do basic dressage, it's the exact same training. We want them to bend. We want them to flex. We want them to be soft in the bridle. It's all the same, and it does help, and it can help any discipline.
Well, and I wasn't trying to put you on the spot, but the point I was trying to get at was that the one little minor change in gaits is very infinitesimal, that all of the rest of what dressage stands for, means, and is very doable.
Up to a point.
Well, I guess I'm in trouble again, friends. No.
There's a step too far. Lee Ziegler did a lot of work on collecting the horse and doing dressage work with the gaited horse. And her premise is that as you round more and collect more, you go closer and closer to the trot. And so there is a point where you get them too rounded and too in that quote unquote frame where you're going toward trot, and that we try to avoid that.
I got you. So what you're saying is that you bring all of that up to a point and then you stop, otherwise you lose what is a walking horse.
Yes, yeah, we lose that signature gait, and so there is a point at which you kind of have to stop.
But I have seen gaited horses, walking horses, doing dressage, and it's very, very beautiful. They do a wonderful, wonderful job with it.
They do a really good job. I've seen some that are particularly lovely, up to about second level.
Well, right now, so we thank you first of all for joining us, and we're going to show you just a little bit of dressage right here with a walking horse. So let's watch this.
Jane.
Last weekend got canceled because the state over on the field.
I just took a section here and I braided it down to it so it wouldn't stick up.
Sure.
Up and back down to the top.
This is me.
Back down through behind the bottom roller. Okay, then just snug it up a little bit. Okay, and I'll put in a hole here for now. Like that. Alright, and we'll tighten it when we get him over to the area.
One dog, so in headline, so then the third question, go around, arms are straight and hanging in, and she was, it's all over the place. Reach here, now it's in room. So how do you do that? So the dog, reaches it, and then she's stuck. Okay, let's go do this. That's
walk that same small circle you did. And then easy, right? Inside good, outside clean.
Well, finally, Lindsay's show day showed up. It's Saturday, it's show day. Here's the way the show went for Lindsay and for many of our other competitors.
Trail walk, please, trail walk.
Nice ride, Lindsay. Wonderful job, girl. Super flame.
Here's a look now at some of our trail obstacle competition. This for the adult competitors. There are also many types of riding classes for our competitors, youth and adult, all from the back of wonderful walking horse, all the fun you ever want to have.
Close the gate, please.
We want to give a great big thank you to everybody at the All-American Walking Horse Alliance for supporting this video. Thank you very much.